Okay, what up, ladies and gents? I am shooting this live while still on stream so I can produce this video as quickly as I can for you guys. Here is the big patch notes update for patch 1.2.10. All right, 1.2.10. For those who are watching this while live on stream, this is your chance to see the behind the scenes of how we do this. This is how we shoot these videos. This is how we make them. And, I'm going to do this one a little special. I'm going to do it all in a single take. All right. So let's get started immediately. Here is what's going down this patch. Season 2, Beyond the Void, starts now. First and foremost, there is a new main quest. This will actually be a new storyline quest called the Sigma Sector. Okay, the Sigma Sector, what it will do is it takes place after the Descendant Core destroys the first Iron Heart. The Sigma Sector main quest will be available after you complete the Fortress Zone main quest, and during the Sigma Sector main quest, when you complete the basic training for Descendants, it'll allow you to check the list of major battlefields during the Apocalypse in a record. If you investigate all traces of the early Descendants listed in this record, you will receive a special chest attachment, so take note of that. Now, new content, Sigma Sector Drop-Off Operation. This is an entirely new mode that is occurring in the Sigma Sector. The Sigma Sector has been restricted for a century due to the strong void erosion phenomena there. In a land where nothing was thought to survive, new traces of the enemy have been found. Penetrate the powerful void storm and find out what is going on in the Sigma Sector. Sigma Sector Drop-Off Operation will become available to you after you complete the main quest, Responsibility, Regret, and Atonement. This will be something we do later live on stream, so take note of that. The features of the Sigma Sector Drop-Off Operation are as follows. There will be a new field called the Sigma Sector being added to the map. The Sigma Sector will feature a new type of monster from the Legion of Immortality known as the Defects. They have not stated if these will have the same Arche as the Legion of Immortality. Legion of Immortality, as you know, is electric, so they're weak to toxic, but we don't know what the defects will be. So we're actually going to take a look, because if these guys are a subgroup, they could have a different element attached. Please take note, okay? Sigma Sector consists of 2 zones, Broken Boundary and Isolated Desert, with 2 difficulty levels, normal and high risk based on the storm level. One of the 4 missions of each zone and difficulty level is randomly selected and carried out each time you drop in to the Sigma Sector. Reaching Mastery Rank 15 and completing an Isolated Desert mission unlocks the Broken Boundary on high risk difficulty. Okay? Completing a Broken Boundary mission on high risk difficulty unlocks Isolated Desert on high risk difficulty. So I think either way you go, it's fine. I think you have to complete the Isolated Desert on normal first to unlock Broken Boundary on high risk. Then after that, you complete the Broken Boundary on high risk to unlock the Isolated Desert on high risk. Nice. Okay, so that's the progression. Defeating certain monsters in the Sigma Sector will drop Sigma Sector exclusive unique weapons, Ground Custodian. When you acquire a Ground Sweeper, you can deal more damage to enemies or destroy the enemy's giant transport ships more effectively. During the Sigma Sector main quest, you can earn the following rewards that will help your descendants. Upon completing Operation Unbelievable, you will gain some modules as well as an energy activator. Upon completing Ultimate Troublemaker and Fix What We Broke, you're going to gain modules. All right, so do take note of that. The modules are listed here. They're all +5, so some of them are half activated, but the main thing is Operation Unbelievable, giving you 1 energy activator. So those of you who are starving for energy activators, you can go and do that. Okay, High Value Relic Exchange. This is a new system that is coming into the game. You can visit Reina in Albion to exchange high value relics obtained from the Sigma Sector drop-off operations for various items. This is unlocked when you reach Mastery Rank 15 and complete an Isolated Desert mission. Today's bonus is available once per day per zone in the Sigma Sector on high risk difficulty. You can obtain 1 high value relic for today's bonus with a maximum of 2 per day. Today's bonus rewards become available when you unlock the Arche tuning system. So once you unlock the Arche tuning system, you can get high value relics and get today's bonus reward. You can exchange the high value relics for the following items: equipment slots +1, storage slots +1, unique Arche Factor XP boost, 15% for 1 hour, 5 hours, and 3 days. All right, so there is that stuff available. Now, let's move on. Next thing that is coming to the game, other than the high value relic exchange, the new Sigma Sector, is the new Descendant Serena. Serena Antoinette is being added to the game, and she is practically a sister of battle from Warhammer 40k. You can acquire her blueprints, code, and materials from the Sigma Sector drop-off operations. Her passive ability is called Divinity. She will receive bonus stats when she is in midair. Her next active is called Sacred Flame. Sacred Flame will fire flames in the direction of the crosshair, dealing damage and inflicting repentance on enemies and granting blessing to allies. It penetrates terrain when used on the ground and explodes on contact with the ground when used in midair. So it's different whether you use it in midair or on the ground. Repentance deals continuous damage and reduces the enemy's fire resistance. Firearm attacks against enemies inflicted with repentance have a chance to recover rounds for the firearm in use. So when you inflict them with repentance, you can actually recover your ammo, which is pretty awesome. Blessing heals Serena for a percentage of her max hit points every second. Okay, Active 2, Ascension. This is a toggle skill that drastically reduces gravity when used and grants various effects depending on the rounds when attacking with a firearm in midair. However, using it adjusts your grappling hook cooldown and jump. General rounds will have an increase in multi-hit chance and multi-hit damage. Special rounds will have AoE firearm damage that deals damage to nearby targets based on the firearm damage dealt. Impact rounds will recover MP on a critical hit. And high power rounds have a chance to deal additional fire skill damage. Okay. Soar. When used on the ground, Serena soars high into the air. When used in midair, she moves more quickly in the input direction. Take note that when used in midair, holding down the skill key makes her move for a certain period of time. Additionally, using the skill reloads the current equipped weapon and resets the number of her jumps. Okay. Active 4, Redemption. When used on the ground, it grants Prayer of Redemption to Serena and nearby allies. When used in midair, it grants the Redemption's Judgment to Serena. Prayer of Redemption significantly reduces incoming damage for a certain number of hits and recovers HP and MP when the effect is removed. Redemption's Judgment deals powerful additional AoE damage to the surrounding area based on Serena's hit points when she attacks with a firearm, so take note of that. Okay? Now, skill modules. Her first skill module, Transcendent skill module, FYI, is called Divine Surge. Divine Surge will modify the ability
New
of...
subscriber detected.
Hey, new subscriber. Skill Module 1, Divine Surge, will modify the ability of Redemption. So Redemption was the one that when used on the ground, grants Prayer of Redemption. When used in midair, grants Redemption's Judgment to give you more AoE damage. Yeah? Okay, well, here, Divine Surge is a bit different. What it'll do is it allows you to quickly fly forward and inflict knockdown on the enemies when you collide with them, dealing large amounts of damage on landing. It also creates Purifying Blaze along the path and inflicts the Repentance debuff on targets that are hit. Repentance being the same as with the first skill, it deals continuous damage and reduces the enemy's fire resistance. Firearm attacks against enemies with Repentance recover rounds for the firearm being used. When you use the skill in midair, okay, the angle of movement is adjusted into the direction of the crosshair, and basically you can use this, if you guys have ever played Space Marine 2, you can fly up, all right, with your soar and then crash down like you're using a jump pack, which would be absolutely awesome if we actually had melee, because imagine if I had a chainsword with Serena, I could crash down on the enemies and start sawing them in half, but we don't have that, so that's fine. That's what Divine Surge will do. Okay, the second skill module is called Hymn. It affects your third skill, which is actually Soar. And what it does with Hymn is that when used on the ground, Serena soars high into the air and leaves a hymn of exaltation on the ground, which increases the jumping of all allies within range. When used in midair, Serena will move and grant Hymn of Vitality to nearby allies, increasing their movement speed, which can potentially be used for speed running. All right, so that is what I'm thinking about. But what will happen is that it will, I'm not sure if it will continue to reload the weapon. We'll have to see once we actually get in the game. It might change the way the weapon is reloaded and things like that. We'll really have to see. But if it does not change the reload, then I would actually take him for most of my runs, because being able to increase movement speed is always awesome, especially when you're running through content. So I would think that that is pretty good. Otherwise, Divine Surge could be used if you really want to, blast off and kill stuff. So there's that. More speed is always good. Now, external components. Here are the external components being added to the game together with Serena. These are all obtained from the Sigma Sector, so please take note of that. Just like Serena, they are obtained from Sigma Sector. I'm emphasizing it again, okay? The first set is called Ascending Armory. What Ascending Armory will do is that you will gain skill cost minus 6.5 for having 2 pieces of it. And if you've got the 4-set effect, when you reload in midair, it provides supply bullets. There's a cooldown of 10 seconds on this effect. But basically, field supplies will be increased by 10% and intercept battle supplies will be increased by 10%. I think what it's trying to refer to is the reserve amount of your ammo, but we'll have to test that in the game once we actually get Serena, all right? Sprinting. Grappling hook charge time minus 10%, and when using the skill grants 1 stack of agile. Agile will increase your movement speed by 10%. Crusader Knights. Chill resistance plus 6%. Grants max stacks of heavy armor, and each hit you receive removes 1 stack. Up to 5 stacks are what you can have. The cooldown apparently is 15 seconds. I don't know if you get all the stacks back or, and it says effect cooldown after equipping and unequipping is 5 seconds. So I believe that maybe the effect doesn't trigger for 5 seconds. That's what they're trying to say. But heavy armor is pretty useful because it reduces your incoming damage modifier by 21%, which is pretty darn awesome. Now, when you're hit, you've got a 10% chance to grant purification to yourself. All right. And that is on a 10-second cooldown for whenever it occurs. So it can, in a way, remove debuffs. And yeah, it just reduces incoming damage, which is pretty awesome. Okay, Unpredictable. This is the last set. It has no 2-piece effect, but if you wear everything on the Unpredictable set, you will gain 1 particular effect every 60 seconds. All right, it'll randomly grant you resilience, latent strength, or fierce attack. Resilience lasts 10 seconds and continuously recovers your shield and health during those 10 seconds. It recovers hit points first, and then once you're at full hit points, it will recover shield. Okay, sorry for that slight misread. The second one is called Latent Strength. Latent Strength lasts for 20 seconds and will increase your skill power by 21%. Skill cost will be minus 12%. So it makes your skills cheaper and stronger for 20 seconds. Fierce Attack will buff your firearm attack by 25% and reload time by 8%. So this one lasts 30 seconds, but the effect is completely random and 1 occurs every 60 seconds. Okay, so if you wear the Unpredictable set, totally random. All right, now let's carry on. Module Settings Implant System. They have added the Module Settings Implant System, which allows the transfer of module settings applied on the normal Descendant to the Ultimate Descendant. So for those of you who were concerned about normal Descendants not being able to be moved to the Ultimate Descendants, they've added it in. You are going to require a material called the Photonic Implanter. I do not know how to get this yet. They didn't say. I will check in-game. All right? I will check in-game. The max capacity up and assigned module socket types of the normal Descendant can be transferred to the Ultimate Descendant as is. However, take note that the default catalyzed slots on your normal Descendant will not be moved to the Ultimate Descendant. Only whatever you put on the normal Descendant, including the energy activator, will be moved to the Ultimate Descendant. However, when you move the stuff from the normal Descendant to the Ultimate Descendant, you will lose the stuff that you invested on the normal Descendant. So let's say you, for some reason, want to run a normal Descendant and an Ultimate Descendant, you have to invest separately in both anyway. Okay, so take note. But for those that incorrectly invested in the normal Descendant and want to move it to the Ultimate, you can do so now. Okay, take note. Okay, next, in the game, we have a new system coming in called Arche Tuning. Arche Tuning looks pretty much like a Paragon board from Diablo 4. Those of you who know what a Paragon board is will probably have fun with this. Take note that the Arche Tuning system will enhance your Descendant's abilities. The system unlocks when you complete the main quest Into the Storm. A sub-quest is available to help you understand the Arche Tuning features. Using the system requires Arche Tuning, which is acquired when your unique Arche factor level increases. It's basically the same as the Inversion Reinforcer every season. However, this, I believe, is non-seasonal. Okay, you can increase your unique Arche factor level by obtaining and accumulating Arche factor XP. Arche factor XP can be obtained from various content. What content gives Arche factor XP? They've gone through it here. Sigma Sector, normal and high risk. Okay, Mission of the Day in the Sigma Sector gives that as well. Void Erosion, Void Vessel gives Arche factor XP, and the 400% infiltration operations give Arche factor XP. You can access the Arche Tuning system via the menu in the inventory or at the Prime hands. Arche Tuning status is shared per Descendant group, and the effects are also applied equally. What does this mean? Only Descendants, normal and ultimate, are treated as a single Descendant group. So Glay and Ultimate Glay will share their Arche tuning status. For a Descendant group with only the normal Descendant, both the normal and ultimate will be treated as a single Descendant group when the ultimate version is added later. Arche tuning consists of multiple nodes. Each node has a tier, and the value of a node's applied effect is dependent on its tier. Nodes require Arche tuning to activate and cannot be activated without it. You can start activating nodes that are closest to the tuning starting point. Those of you who are familiar with the Paragon board, what this means is that you start in the center. You can choose to move in one direction or another direction or go half and half, but ultimately there are going to be certain nodes that you need to activate, and depending on the amount of XP and what's the max level, you will have to adjust accordingly for what you can build. You can't have everything that you want. So this will really help to adjust your Descendant builds for each situation, and I'm going to love that. Okay, Arche tuning consists of multiple nodes, blah, blah, blah. Each node has a tier, and the value of the node's applied effect is dependent on its tier. Nodes require Arche tuning to activate, cannot be activated without it. You start activating nodes that are closest to the tuning starting point. The nodes can be activated and applied with a separate effect, allowing you to discern which nodes can be activated. Okay, you can only activate nodes that are adjacent to an activated node. So you have to progress one node at a time, same as the Paragon board in Diablo 4. Okay, and last but not least, activated nodes can be reset. You can reset an individual node or all nodes at once via a full reset. Resetting returns the Arche tuning that you used for activation. They have not stated that it costs anything, so it should be free, which would be great because that allows us to just play around with our Paragon path as much as we want. Loadouts and presets are also available. A total of 3 loadout slots are provided. They've added a dedicated slot for Arche tuning within the presets, saved as a loadout activated at the time the preset was saved. Okay? All right. Special operation hard difficulty map changes. The special operations for hard difficulty have gone back to what they were previously. The defense mission is at Fortress. That is the one where Freyna just absolutely blasts everything, so remember that. And Mine Blockade has moved back to White Knight Gulch, so take note of that. The XP granted in each middle section of the, i.e. every 2 waves, of the special operations on hard difficulty has been removed or reduced. Please take note. The same amount of XP has been added as rewards for defeating the monsters in each wave. So I believe that to an extent, this is to stop AFKers taking advantage of the bonus by hanging around at the starting point. But unfortunately for the defense mission, the whole area is within their reach. So if they hang out at the start, well, they're still going to get XP. But anyway, the chances of earning rewards for defeating monsters has been adjusted due to the change in the number of monsters. Last but not least, the total XP earned remains the same or is slightly higher than before. So you're still going to get all the XP you need. You just need to earn it by defeating enemies, which is going to be good. So let's, defeating meaning any Descendant defeats it. I'm pretty sure that's how it works. That's how it's always worked. We might do a test on this at a later time. Okay, there are additional content leaderboards being added, but again, I genuinely don't care about those because it's irrelevant. 4 new ultimate weapons have been added to the game. Let's move on to this. This, I think, is much more important. The first new ultimate weapon being added is called the Malevolent Hand Cannon. All right, this is an awesome hand cannon that will quite literally, all right, shoot blades. The unique ability of this hand cannon is called Malicious Pain. It is acquirable from the Battle Pass. When you hit an enemy, it will create a bladed cog. The bladed cog will bounce between multiple enemies, dealing damage. Hitting a weak point generates additional bladed cogs. So this is going to be quite the awesome hand cannon for just AoE murder, I think. Truly Deadly Arson is a beam rifle. This can be obtained from the normal mode Sigma sector. Okay, it's got a unique ability called Double Tap, Double Check. Hitting an enemy inflicts the Void Fire status effect. When a burn-related effect is inflicted, Void Fire will explode, dealing damage and transforming the burn into a more powerful effect called Inferno. Inferno will nullify the Void Fire. Only fire attack applies to this particular weapon, and other attribute attacks will be converted to fire attack at a certain ratio. Don't worry about it, just go straight for the fire attack, is my personal opinion on this. Ancient Knight. Blueprints, codes, and materials can be obtained from high-risk Sigma Sector, and this will be the same for the ATOM's sniper rifle, but the assault rifle has the ability called Descending Judgment. Reloading in midair grants you the float ability, and this increases the attack drop-off starting distance and attack drop-off ending distance. Hitting an enemy with this will also proc HP recovery. So you can literally use this by reloading in midair, which is pretty awesome. I'm pretty sure it's Serena's designated weapon. When multi-hit triggers in midair, it also grants you Atonement. Multi-hit damage will increase for each stack of Atonement. So that is what this gun does. Float and Atonement are removed when you touch the ground, so take note of that. Okay, weapon. They have capped the fire rate of weapons at 2,000. They've added a new stat called multi-hit damage. Each firearm has its own value for multi-hit damage, which may vary. Okay, so multi-hit damage, much like critical hit, weak point is going to be a separate thing. I don't know if each weapon will have a multi-hit chance, but we'll find that out when we actually get into the game. All right. Now, Void Intercept battle. There's a new Void Intercept battle being added. This is called the Tormentor. He's basically a souped-up executioner. All right, so yes, I know many of you don't like the reskins, but this is a souped-up executioner. This is an advanced version of the executor battle. Okay. Now, when you fight the Tormentor, what you need to understand is that you need to have at least Mastery Rank 18, and you have to clear the most powerful Colossus quest. The Tormentor is electric attribute, and he will spawn plasma cubes. Plasma cubes are difficult to destroy with normal attacks, and instead they are vulnerable to continuous damage. I don't know if this means like continuous damage over time, or can I just spray bullets at it? I guess we'll find out. When the Tormentor enters the Void Reflux mode, it creates a thunderstorm to press the field. Take advantage of the Tormentor's vulnerability by actively utilizing toxic attacks. Okay? Now, they have added a photo mode. The photo mode is accessible through the escape menu and can also be entered via a shortcut on the ring menu. There are no restrictions on the use of the photo mode feature, but it will be forcibly terminated in situations where you are dead, where you teleport, where there's map movement, or when you're down but not out. You can also select a pre-designated preset when entering photo mode. Presets are pre-selected shooting options for the photo mode, and even if you don't select a specific preset, you can set the photo mode options to achieve the same effects as the preset. Okay, so you can choose all that. Preset configuration. Default, which is the default settings. Portrait, which is ideal for taking portraits, applying depth of field and blurring the background. Background is ideal for taking background shots, allowing you to capture a sharp shot of the entire screen. Load previous settings is great if you want to apply the last settings as you use them. There are a ton of things you can do in photo mode. Please experiment with them, but basically there's field of view, screen tilt, depth of field, intensity. You can go with the aperture to adjust the opening level of the camera. The higher the value, the wider the area in focus. The lower the value, the narrower the area in focus. There's a focal length, like a real camera as well. You can focus at a specified distance from the camera. There is a show fellow, where you can choose to whether or not you want to show your fellow in the shot. You can have view all, view my fellow only, hide all that kind of stuff. You can change the Descendant's pose based on the solo emotes that you have available. So yeah, take note of that. I can't wait to actually play around with this because I think it's going to be awesome. Okay. Photo mode does not support separate filming functions, so please use the filming function provided by your platform. Okay, so you cannot film it separately, I guess. They have a customization loadout system. They've added a customization loadout system where you can set different customizations for each loadout. 3 customization loadout slots are provided by default, and up to 2 slots can be purchased additionally. Okay, you can change the customization loadout slots in the customize menu and the inventory. However, the customization loadout slots can only be purchased in the customize menu. I believe that this is related to the customization of your Descendant. You can have different looks and different setups for your Descendant. If you like one particular thing, you want to have it painted up one way, you can switch to another outfit and have it painted up another way. Okay? Now, you can also dye eyebrows and beards, so please take note of that. There is a new fellow in the game, which is a lovely little labradoodle right there. Okay, they've added, it's called the Vespers Hunting Dog, and You can acquire the blueprints, codes, and materials from the Void Vessel hard difficulty. So if you haven't played it before, you got to go in and play that. The Hagio Sheepdog research material has been moved to the normal Void Vessel, so that's where you get the Sheepdog now. If the Sheepdog was set as a target reward in Void Vessel Hard before the update, the progress will no longer increase, so please reset your target reward accordingly. You can interact with the new fellow, so please do enjoy the diverse effects of the new fellow. Fellow can acquire XP through the same food items that you had before, and both fellows, okay, take note of this, they will both grant you module drop rate increase, they will have auto item pickup and auto dismantling of items. This is the same for both fellows, okay? That being said, what is the difference between each fellow? The Labradoodle, okay, this lovely fella here, the Labradoodle will automatically refill rounds for whatever weapon you're using at regular intervals. As the fellow grows, the auto refill round cycle gradually improves. Okay, so in a twisted way, he's shitting out ammo for you. The previous fellow that you already have, the Hagio Sheepdog, will heal you. He now has a healing function that will automatically heal the Descendant every 30 seconds. Okay, as fellow grows, the auto HP recovery amount gradually increases, but take note that this does not change the time. He will only heal you every 30 seconds. Take note, okay? The chances of obtaining blueprints and codes for the fellow in the Void Vessel have been changed to be the same regardless of whether you have the fellow equipped. Equipping the fellow increases the chances of obtaining blueprints and codes for Keelan and Ines as before, okay? Inversion Reinforcement. Okay, for this new season, although it's Season 2, Episode 2, it's counted as a new season, the Inversion Reinforcer is different. So take note, okay? With the current Inversion Reinforcer, the hunt tree is completely changing. So the new stuff in the hunt tree is as follows. Your first ability is Neural Focus Augmentation. This will increase your max XP up to 5 stacks when you defeat an enemy. Okay, this was in the previous hunt trees, but now it's been moved to the first one. The second perk is called Strike Point Amplification. When you land a multi-hit with a firearm, it will grant you Strike Point Amplification. Strike Point Amplification gives you weak point damage increase of plus 9% for 30 seconds up to 3 stacks. But this only triggers when you land a multi-hit with a firearm. However, if your firearm has a high multi-hit chance, you can increase the weak point damage, and this will help you up your overall damage, which I think is going to be fantastic on a personal level. There is also the ammo system, okay, which is the third perk being added. The ammo system states that when you land a firearm critical hit, it will grant you the ammo system modifier, which can reduce your reload time by up to 25% for 30 seconds, which is fantastic, okay? The Arche Circulation Tactic is the fourth perk, and when you hit an enemy with a skill, it'll grant you Arche Circulation. Although it only lasts for 10 seconds, it removes 24% of your skill cooldown, which can really make certain skills go crazy, especially if you can trigger them fast. Theoretically, this could be used with Keelan to do super dash builds, which is absolutely hilarious. And it triggers the very second you hit an enemy with a skill, so there's that. All right, so when you encounter enemies, you can just start literally just dashing around the whole field and killing them. All right, other characters will probably also be able to make use of this, but characters with continuous activations will probably be able to use this best. Okay, Area Burst Inducer. When hitting an enemy with a skill or a firearm, it inflicts Area Burst Inducer on the target and all enemies within 7 meters. All right, this is a passive that will just occur. Area Burst Inducer causes an incoming damage modifier of plus 13% for 10 seconds. There's a cooldown on this of 30 seconds. So please take note that this is probably best if you trigger it on an elite. However, you have to hit an enemy. So if you're shooting other stuff, well, try to aim at the big target first. All right. Now, your second tree, which is recovery, has undergone some changes. Previously, the effect Selective Neurostimulation, which was for recovering MP, has been changed to Rolling Defense. Rolling Defense will now give you a 70% chance of recovering 4% of your max shield when you roll. Recovery Maneuver, which used to be you have to use a grappling hook to recover your shields, has been changed to Selective Neurostimulation. Okay, so they just shifted it around. And Heightened Sensory Cells has been changed over to Probabilistic Recovery System. When HP and recovery and MP recovery orbs are collected, All right, there's a 50% chance to recover 11% of your max hit points and 5% of your max MP. So take note of that. Okay. All right, the survival tree. Now, in the survival tree, okay, they have changed some of your abilities. Previously, there was Vitality Burst, which nobody used. This has been changed to Shield Particle Augmentation, whereby you can increase your max shield up to 5 stacks when defeating an enemy. This was previously in the Hunt tree. The Abyss Enhancement, where you would reduce your incoming damage modifier and grappling hook charge time, has now been altered to Biodensity Augmentation, so no more free flying around. Biodensity Augmentation was previously in the Hunting tree. It essentially increases your max hit points up to 5 stacks. Enhanced Arche Potential, whereby you could previously obtain HP and MP recovery orbs to get all attribute resistance, has been changed to Crisis Response System. It's a passive, so it's always on. You will basically, whenever you obtain an MP and HP recovery orb, you will get Crisis Response, which increases your defense by 8.6% up to 5 stacks. This means that you can get up to 40% extra defense, well, slightly over 40% extra defense by collecting orbs. So there's that. Now, the seasonal tree, as always, has been changed. Okay? The seasonal tree has been changed to state that photon stacking will be shifted to evolutionary cutting mechanism. This is for the Battle Pass hand cannon. All right. The number of bladed cogs that you create on hit is +2. And when changing weapons, you will remove the evolutionary cutting mechanism. The next one is explosive forging, which gives you risk mitigation protocol. During the Void Erosion Purge, you will get risk mitigation protocol, which reduces incoming damage modifiers by 5%. Okay, so you will take 5% less damage in the Void Erosion Purge. The Arche Boost, all right, which previously reduced skill cooldown and increased skill range and speed, has been shifted over to Aerial Maneuvering Raider. When you are airborne for at least 2 seconds, you will gain Aerial Maneuvering Raider. This is mostly a Serena skill. Aerial Maneuvering Raider increases your multi-hit chance by 18%. When not airborne, Aerial Maneuvering Raider is removed. So this is going to be quite important for Serena specifically. But take note that it is a seasonal bonus, so I don't know if it'll stay, and therefore, is it going to be useful for Serena long-term? We'll have to see that. Okay. Module. Added new groups of rare firearms, multi-hit damage and multi-hit chance. Combine modules in the multi-hit damage group and multi-hit chance group to implement additional firearm damage according to the multi-hit chance when attacking with firearms. Firearm damage implemented by multi-hit chance is determined by multi-hit damage. They've also added modules related to multi-hit and ultimate tier firearm modules to expand the range of options we can choose from to add synergistic effects with multi-hit settings. Okay. There's a lot of modules to go through, but they're all roughly the same. So what I will do is I will give you guys a general idea of these, and then we can go on from there. Okay, when it comes to the firearms, all right, when it comes to the firearms, for general rounds, the base module is called Multi-Percussion Sight. It'll increase your multi-hit chance by 30%, but reduce your firearm critical hit damage. So this is not really effective unless the weapon has a very low critical hit chance. The other one increases multi-hit chance, but lowers fire rate by 30%, which is horrendous. We probably don't want this. Multi-hit damage can increase, but it will also reduce your firearm critical hit damage even further. And multi-hit damage can increase together with multi-hit chance, but only for this one rare module. So if anyone wants to use this, I really recommend Multi-Piercing Trigger to give yourself a little bit of a boost. It might be only a 10% increase, but that's 10% raw DPS increase. Everyone should probably put this module onto their weapons.
New subscriber detected.
Thank you, new subscriber. All right, so this is the one that I think everybody should put on their guns. This is going to be important. Even if it's just 10%, it'll help. We don't know if weapons will have a base multi-hit chance, but we will be able to check that out, okay? We will be able to check that out. Now, keep this in mind, all right? You will need to get these modules, but for each of the different round types, okay? Because the one for this one that I just talked about is general rounds. Later on, you'll see special rounds. It's the same module. There's also one for impact rounds. There's also one for high power rounds. So do take note of that, okay? All right, now for the ultimate module, there's a couple that you guys are gonna have to take into account. So I'm going to go through them right now. The first ultimate module for general rounds is that when you land a multi-hit, your multi-hit damage will increase, okay? And you will also inflict a debuff called Deep Wounds on the enemy. Deep Wounds inflict 3% of firearm damage at regular intervals for 3 seconds, and you can have up to 3 stacks of Deep Wounds, which is effectively like a bleed proc, okay? So this is in the battle proficiency group. There is another one called multi-sites. So this one is when you use a particular skill, all right? Oh, sorry, I missed one. Multi-hit induction. This one is quite important. When you hit weak points, multi-hit chance will increase by 5.7% for 5 seconds, up to 10 stacks, but it doesn't have a cooldown on it, which means that if you continuously hit weak points, you can get 57% multi-hit chance, which is pretty fantastic. All right, so getting additional bullets in your gun, yes, please. I'm actually considering using this because I feel that, you know, you're effectively doubling your DPS. Well, you're adding effectively 57% multiplied DPS, which is pretty awesome. So this is something I would definitely go for. Then for the battle proficiency group, okay, which is a different group, so you can actually equip this first one and a second one together, okay? If you want to equip the second one, there's one whereby if you use a singular skill, firearm attack will increase. When you use a fusion skill, multi-hit damage will increase. Oh, sorry, let me just ask them to stop vacuuming for a second. Sorry, I'll handle the vacuuming a little later, but anyway, my apologies for that because it was getting pretty loud and I could hear it. All right, so carrying on, when you're using a singular skill, okay, your firearm attack will increase by 4% for 15 seconds with a 100% chance. When you're using the fusion skill multi-hit damage, when you use a fusion skill, your multi-hit damage will increase by 14% for 15 seconds with a 100% chance, okay? You can have up to 3 stacks of these, but I mean, it depends on whether or not you want to do this. It doesn't have a cooldown listed on it, so it's just a raw increase as far as I can tell. But I don't know whether or not this will be helpful or things like that. I guess we'll have to test it and find out if it's actually useful. Next is the multi-processor. When using a dimension skill, tech skill, weak point damage will increase up to 3 stacks, so that's an extra 9%. And if you use a tech skill, firearm critical hit damage will increase by up to 8%. 3 stacks, that's a total of 24%. So there is that. It's a 100% chance to increase, and there's no cooldown on any of these modules, or at least a cooldown is not stated, so be aware of that. Excuse me for burping. Okay, the next is multi-amplification. When inflicting a debuff, your multi-hit chance goes up by 4% for 15 seconds, up to 3 stacks. Could be very useful. There's also battle proficiency group, which says multi-circulation. When granting a buff or using a recovery skill on allies, multi-hit damage is increased by 16.8% for 15 seconds, up to 5 stacks. So when granting a buff or using a recovery skill on allies, I don't know if it'll trigger if you just do it on yourself, but I guess you can try that. A lot of these modules we definitely want to try out and see whether or not they're going to be good, but you know, I think that this is going to be very, very interesting. But yes, I think that you will be able to use it on characters like Enzo, Eugen, all that kind of stuff, but you have to decide whether or not you're going to increase the multi-hit chance as well on your weapon and whether or not it suits the gun. Ultimately, all of this is going into the gun build, which means, you know, your gun build is already overcrowded with modules to maximize damage, so you're going to have to think really hard about this one. I, on a personal level, believe that this will see much more use as a replacement, in my opinion, for weak point damage multipliers by introducing a whole new multiplier. But again, we'll have to see what the final result will be. Okay, for the special rounds, it's pretty much all the same. Now, the values of the critical hit damage and the multi-hit chance are different to the general rounds. General rounds was, I believe, 30% on the first one. Let me just double check. Yes, it was 30% on the first one. Here, it's 40% for the special rounds, but critical hit damage is minus 90%. Fire rate is minus 15%, but multi-hit chance is plus 60%. So you can effectively, with special rounds, get a 100% multi-hit chance if you're willing to take some sacrifices. Okay, so take note of that. You can also the one which increases multi-hit damage and multi-hit chance, 35%, 15%. This one is pretty awesome. It's better than the one for the general rounds, so do take note of that. For the ultimate modules, it's all pretty much the same stuff. Okay, so if you were to read through the patch notes, it's all the same stuff I discussed before. That being said, there are some additional modules for special rounds. Compressed thermal rounds will, when you hit an enemy 3 times in a row with a firearm attack from a distance of 20 meters or more, you will deal a percentage of your fire attack as additional damage. Take note that this is a percentage of your fire attack, electric attack, toxic attack, chill attack stat. And I think they missed out the chill attack one because I'm only seeing 3 elements, but basically these are more designed for burst rifles as far as I can tell. This will probably be best designed for the burst rifles and best used on the burst rifles, but you're not inflicting 78% of your firearm damage. No, you're inflicting 78% only of the elemental damage, so be aware of that. Okay, impact rounds, it's all pretty much the same thing. Multi-hit chance, reduce your firearm critical hit damage, fire rate. For the mixed module, it's multi-hit chance 15%, multi-hit damage 20%, which is excellent. The ultimate modules are all the same. High-powered rounds, all pretty much the same thing. So if you guys want to read through everything, you can go ahead. But these are some pretty interesting things. In general, I think for a gun-based Sharon, I would probably bump up the multi-hit damage to like the maximum possible, and I'm probably gonna put it on a sniper rifle with somebody like Sharon. If I put it on a sniper rifle and take like the reduced fire rate, but give myself like a maximized multi-hit chance, I think that'll work real well. That'll work real well, but I probably won't fully level this one. I think again it would be very, very useful, but only on the only on Sharon, and only if they're using only if you're using like a sniper and giving her that extra critical hit buff. So that's a thing, but you know, we'll see. All right. The rest are all roughly the same. There's one for launcher specifically as well. Now, the launcher one is going to be absolutely interesting because I want multi-hit chance on Restored Relic. I think that's just going to be insane. So slapping that on Restored Relic is going to be completely stupid. And I kind of want that. I really kind of want that. So I am so down for that. I am so down. Okay, other than that, the ultimate modules are all the same. Okay, Battle Pass. There's a new Battle Pass, so take note. The weekly Battle Pass challenges have dropped from 8 to 6, and they have increased the amount of XP that you can get from each weekly challenge. All right. They've slightly increased the total number of supply coins that can be obtained from the weekly challenges. So take note of that. There's also a new event where you can get Haley skins for free, but Haley looks like the angriest maid I have literally ever seen over there. Okay, so you can either pick Haley skins or free Ultimate Bunny, but Ultimate Bunny can be farmed, so I really recommend you pick the Haley skins. If you guys want more details on the events, we're actually going to go into that right now. So let's take a breather here and go into the events. The first event is a daily login event, okay? So this is called Beyond Sigma Sector. All you have to do is log in each day and you can claim the reward. The rewards for day 1 to 14 are as follows. Day 1, Ultimate Weapon Selection Box. Day 2, Mid-Air Maneuvering. Day 3 is an Energy Activator. Day 4 is a Clover Box, which gives you an Sieve and UI theme. Day 5 is a Transcendent Module Selection Box, which will give you some modules that you can choose from. Day 6 is a spawn called Green Hat. Day 7 is a growth support box, which gives you 2 crystallization catalysts, bunch of gold, Kyber, some boosters. Day 8 is an ultimate protein compound. Day 9 is 100 fine adjustment control axes. Day 10, 60 dimension analyzers. Day 11, 1000 abyss void fragments. Day 12 is augmentation core box. Day 13 is a descendant support box. Augmentation cores meaning like the rank 6 cores, so still not that useful, but whatever. Descendant support box is just a bunch of paints. And day 14 is the special reward box, which you can choose to get an ultimate bunny purchase ticket or a Haley skin box. So you can choose to get either one, okay? All right, grand. Now, event number 2 is assist with Serena's covert operations. Assisting Serena with her covert operations to successfully complete missions. You just need to, now, in order for this to do this event, what you need to do is just basically play the game for a total of 120 minutes, complete 4 regional missions on any difficulty. All right. I don't know what regional missions mean, but I'll try and see if I can do them in like 400% or whatever. Then there's also another reward. This one is later in the month. Later in the month, it's the same thing, but you have to like do various things. Like you have to play 30 minutes, complete 2 Void Intercept battles, complete research, enhance reactor. So the first set of missions, which is running from March 13 to March 26, is just playing the game for like 2 hours. You just have to log in for 2 hours. You know, you can just leave your character in Albion and you'll still get it as long as you don't get logged out. Yeah. So just do an emote and you can grab that. But of course, I don't recommend that. I mean, you're in the game, you may as well play the game, right? Okay, fantastic. Let's move on. Okay, for the Operation Support Shop, if you go to Albion and you go to Ane and access the shop, all right, you can use the Operation Support tokens, which you are getting from this event, to purchase various things. There's a Photon Imprinter, which will help you transfer your investment from a normal Descendant to an Ultimate Descendant. You can get a Descendant Selection Box, but it excludes Keelan and S. Serena, so the new Descendants cannot be obtained there. You can get Haley, apparently. Or you can get 10 million gold, so I'm going for the gold. There's an energy activator, weapon selection box, dimension analyzers, core amplifiers, augmentation cores at rank 6, kind of useless because we can get them from VP30 anyway. 100 void abyss metal fragments, premium crafting box, Enzo supply box, adjustment control axes, all the stuff. So just buy what you want, get your boosters, and have fun with that. Okay, and that is it for the event. All right, so these are the events that are in the game. Let's move back to the patch notes now. They've also changed the shop UI. I'm not going to go through this. You can read it if you want, but it's just how you filter the shop and all that kind of stuff. They also talk about the bundles that they've added, but again, this is only if you're interested. There is a new evolving skin for Sharon, and take note that in order to up the evolving skin for Sharon, it's super easy. All you have to do is catalyze your Sharon or Ultimate Sharon, okay, to use the evolving skin. That being said, if you've already catalyzed your Sharon, according to this, when Sharon or Ultimate Sharon has already had type assignment, the type assignment count will be applied instantly when you purchase the evolving skin. So if you like the evolving skin, grab it for Sharon. If not, then don't bother. Okay? All right. Content improvements. Now, this is the last part. These are all bug fixes and content improvements. So I'm not sure if you guys are interested in this, but if you guys are interested in this, pay attention now. Okay, for the content improvements, you can now, when you transfer your reactor mountings, you can change the first optimization condition. All right, you don't have to stick with what you had before. They have added Excava to ETA 0. All right, and you can also use the support token system to get Excava if you didn't have it maxed out before. In terms of the Void Intercept battles, they've changed the commencement time for Intercept battles and Colossi appearance starting times, so you can enjoy faster paced battles. Let's check it out. Okay, when we log into the game later after the maintenance is done. They have expanded the expanse from where pickup weapons can be acquired. I don't know what that even means. I think it's like, so weapons that can be picked up during missions like the Invasion, I think you can pick them up from a slightly longer distance. Difficulty level rewards. They've changed some of the type of reactors that can be obtained and the area where external components are dropped. Normal difficulty missions have been made a bit smoother to progress for certain types in the Kingston and Sterile Land. For dungeons, there have been doors added to Heart of the Fortress. They've changed monster spawn locations in the chapel. Void Vessel, normal difficulties. They've deleted corridors that hinder player movements. So those of you who are stuck on that, water down. Although I don't know anyone that was even playing normal. Altitude restriction feature has been added. If you go too high in the game, as in high up in the air, the character will respawn automatically on the ground. In terms of monsters, they've adjusted the power of Commander Keldir because he was still one-shotting people that were just unprepared, which is not a good idea. But at the same time, why? Because it teaches people how to seek cover. I don't know why they're removing that, but anyway, that's that. You can replay certain quests at the Descendant Instructor if you really, really want to. And when you die in a field mission, a support request message will be displayed, and it's displayed for the initial death only, and you can instantly request support without any confirmation process. Okay, weapons and modules. Changes were made to add fire rate option to the tactical rifles. So now tactical rifles like the Greg's Reverse Fate, you don't have to be stuck just increasing magazine capacity. For certain characters like Glay, if you want to build your Greg's Reverse Fate solely for Glay, you can just go all in on fire rate and have your Gregs just spam bullets and bomb enemies into oblivion, which will be absolutely hilarious if you ask me. Okay. UI UX. They've changed a couple of things about the UI. Let me just quickly read through this to see if there's anything important here that I need to tell you guys about. I genuinely don't think so, but I mean, it's up to you. You guys can have a look around, but this is mostly a UI change. If there's anything important, then you guys read through and you tell me, because I don't think I'm interested in UI changes. Encrypted vault. Okay, you can now see spawned encrypted vaults when you look at the local map. The types of encrypted vaults will be displayed by the icon. You can hover over the icon to see the number of code analyzers and code breakers that you currently own in the tooltip. Waypoint is available, so you can waypoint toward the encrypted vaults. So again, this is watered down content. No need to find them. They will just spawn there. Also, they guarantee at least one vault will spawn in every battlefield that you go to. Okay, and they've also made the vaults spawn faster, so no need to switch around as much. But it was already super easy before, but I guess this will reduce grind, so I can't really complain about the watering down because this is actually helpful for the grind. They've also reduced the number of potential spawn points, so now there's only 5 potential spawn points in every battlefield, and you can just basically railroad straight to them so you don't have to waste time. For me, I feel that this is okay because this helps to reduce grind. Now, they've added the Excava blueprints, like I said, to ETA 0, and you can craft it at an A after you get the blueprints. The rewards for the Void Intercept battle exchangeable at ETA 0 shop have been changed, so now it's all the Tormentor stuff. Defiler and Inferno Walker, I believe, have been removed. You can obtain the premium in ETA vouchers from trading in blueprints that are spare. That one we already know. They've made improvements to allow fellows to automatically pick up items while descendants are airborne. So even if we're airborne, fellow will go around and pick up items. They've improved to allow Ironheart particles to be obtained in the Sigma sector. And they've reduced the amount of Ironheart particles that are obtained from Void Vessel Hard. They've increased the number of modules dropped in the Void Abyss battles from 2 to 3. So more modules will now drop in the Intercept battles. Okay, good. Now, next is the bug fixes. So if anyone's not interested in bug fixes, you can ignore this, but basically it's very short. They fixed an issue with Frostwalker because it apparently moved when coming out of combat in frenzied mode. They fixed an issue where Colossus elimination cutscene did not play fully when failing Intercept battles. They fixed an issue where the respond to support request award conditions were not being recognized. They've changed display items, currency, and XP acquired related to current content in each content result screens. Fixed an issue where the weapon module screen fails to renew stat info. Okay, this is good. Fixed an issue where first-time completion rewards were not displayed in the acquisition information list. Fixed an issue where emotes, item, tooltip description, and shop banner description were mixed up. And fixed an issue where access info weapon screens omit Sigvor's proof acquisition history, even though you've already acquired it. Okay, good. Miscellaneous. Fixed an issue where the skill power increase effect after reloading did not stack properly in the 4-set effect of the active volcano external component. Okay, at least that has been changed. All right. That is it for the patch notes, guys. We have shot this live while on stream. I apologize for not being able to address chat during that time, but I want to shoot this video properly so that everybody can understand. I want to hear your comments. I know this video is over an hour, but this is everything that's in the game right now. Be sure to check it out and tell me what you think, because I want to hear from you what you think about all this. All right. Let me know. Comment your thoughts. All right. Let me know what you think and tell me how this update is going to go for you. All right. I'll see you guys later when the game is actually on.